Tonight on Tranquil Radio, Jim tells us every dirty detail about his honeymoon with KJ, and I'm pregnant. Who's the father? All this and more coming up on Tranquil Radio.
I ain't farting on no snare drum.
What's going on, everybody? This is Tranquil Radio, a rock news show about all things rock, except for when it's not, brought to you by the Foundry and Fantasy Entertainment Complex right here in Cleveland, Ohio. I am your host, Sean Ryan, and with us we have we haven't seen him.
Yeah, I've been gone.
What's your name?
Huh?
I'm
Jeff.
Huh?
This your bush?
Let's take this time out for you guys to just hit subscribe right below.
Smash, smash, smash.
Hit your little dingle bell so you get your notifications, and let's just get it started. After weeks of crazy announcements, great news, all kinds of glorious shit going on this week, not a goddamn thing happened. So I just went into my archives and I found what you're about to see here. Let's start off with Flea. Flea recently put out a memoir November 5th called Acid for the Children, not to be confused with Wu-Tang for the Children. That's a different book.
It's true.
Wu-Tang is for the children. We teach the children.
Flea did an interview with The Guardian recently. Flea was, of course, talking about Anthony Kiedis. He spilled the beans on a couple of things in the book. He said, in quote, "The missing link I never considered, unlike anyone he had previously met. Among my friends, I was the guy who was always trying to do something that would freak people out, and I met Anthony, and he matched me step for step. We got up to all kinds of crazy shit." And that is absolutely true, like heroin.
Yeah.
Flea also described Kiedis as controlling in the memoir, but declined to elaborate to The Guardian, saying the two bandmates had issues between them and he wasn't willing to discuss. But Flea had this to say, quote, "He doesn't accept that I'm different and that things that excite me may not excite him. He is looking to be the alpha." Kind of like this guy. He
Always.
is a real ball breaker, slave driver.
Absolutely.
He beats me.
Isn't this what you want?
Oh, no, it's not what I want.
It's because I love you. It's because I love you, goddammit.
When you make a new friend on Facebook, say hi in the messenger.
Wave, motherfucker! What band doesn't have these kind of dynamics with these types of personalities and things like that?
I know. They've known each other since high school, and that band came out in, 87 or something like that.
Right. I mean, they even talk about the whole thing with Hello, Slovak, the original guitarist. You know?
Yeah.
And he died from an overdose, and that's kind of kind of a constant turmoil with the band, dealing with drugs and things like that. Like any band of that era.
Like any band ever.
Yeah, period.
It's just power and drugs and egos, and that's every band.
And sometimes there's music.
Even those Civil War dad rock bands.
That's the best genre name ever.
Hit football helmets with sticks and stomp on old tin basins or whatever that you fucking wash your clothes in down by the river.
Playing washboards with Coke bottles or whatever the fuck you find.
Like that asshole Noel Gallagher. We went and saw Noel. He was opening for Smashing Pumpkins, and a lady literally got on the microphone and played the scissors. I had friends there. They left. I saw them as I was coming back from getting a beer. They were like, "There's a fucking bitch playing the goddamn scissors. I'm fucking leaving." They didn't even stay for Smashing Pumpkins. But I digress. I know we were talking about Flea. Flea also talked about Kiedis' drug use and said, quote, "It's painful and scary and sad because the rationale of someone who's a drug addict is disingenuous and hollow and misguided." And said, "Maybe I should have written more just about the joy and the love and the creative stuff that we shared, because we have just had a fantastic friendship and relationship, and it's been difficult. We're both very intense people and we butt heads, and he's someone that I trust and love. You hurt the people that you love sometimes. I'm sure that I have been a complete asshole to him and judgmental many a time when I didn't need to be, because I was too bullheaded and pig-headed to see what I was doing." That's every relationship. I mean, when you go back that far, that's basically your brother. You have a brother. I have a brother. My brother and I just constantly fighting.
Yeah.
He's 6'8", so he kicked the shit out of me. But
So would this be? Would you read this? Would you read his memoir?
no.
I think, honestly, the history of the Chili Peppers, dies somewhere in the 90s, but I'm more curious to hear about Flea because he's worked with the Mars Volta, he's had various cameos and acted in various things, all those small bit roles and things like that.
What's the matter? Chicken?
The ink soaks in the system and the guy's freaked out. Look at him. What are you freak?
we've got a recurring flea problem. Go away, Flea! You're not welcome here! And put on a shirt! You're 50!
Those things sound more excited than the past maybe 20 years of Red Hot Chili Peppers history to me.
Every biography that I've read with Tommy Lee and The Dirt and Nikki Sixx's book, Aerosmith, it's all kind of the same deal. You know, it's just like I really just want to get to the point of where they went off the brink and did crazy wild shit. Flea, although he's crazy, he doesn't strike me as someone that was going completely off the deep end.
Like yeah,
Slash.
Like he's imbalanced and weird, but not in a reckless way that would be like, I want to watch this train wreck.
Yeah, like Kiedis, you know, he's talking about sleeping with underage girls in his book. True story. Found out she was underage and then proceeded to take her back to the trailer and have sex one more time. Just one more. Like,
She's only 17.
that didn't go over well in these days.
Well, any days, really.
Yeah.
But especially these days. Next.
And on to our second story, we got Kiss.
Kiss.
Actually, no, we don't. That story sucked. The manager for Kiss, Doc McGee, just wants to get everybody together that was playing for Kiss at one point in time, all together on their last show coming up in 2021. There you go. That's the story. And I didn't feel like editing down a 10-minute fucking snooze fest for you guys, so let's just go on to Motley Crue. And on to our final story, we have Mick Mars and Motley Crue. We cannot stop talking about Motley Crue. It's just in the news, man. That's what we got to talk about. Like I said, this week was slow. Yeah. But Mick Mars back in 2014. Think about that. Half a decade ago. They did their final farewell show, end of Motley Crue, which clearly we know now that that was bullshit. Like, in an interview with Mick Mars in 2014, he had said,
Mick said, if that happens, I'll invite the world to come for free.
Which leads to a financial problem for Motley Crue.
A little bit.
Poison and Def Leppard, they're going to get their cut. Motley Crue, playing for free. We know that's not going to happen. Mars' proposition was brought to light again recently with Don Jamieson from That Metal Show. Remember when we saw him do stand-up for Jim Florentine?
Yeah.
He was the second guy.
That's right. That
was like when we were just becoming friends and shit.
Ozzy had a little trouble recently. He started drinking again. He fell off the wagon, so his wife Sharon said, I'm not coming back to you until you quit drinking. So Ozzy did what any other guy married 25 years would do. Yeah, he stepped up his drinking and started celebrating.
But Don Jamieson, he presented this 5-year-old clip on That Metal Show from a Twitter feed with Eddie Trunk and Jim Florentine. The episode aired March 8th, 2014. Mars countered Jamieson's predictions of the future Crue gigs and said, oh, what Jim just said. If that happens, I will invite the world to come for free. Jamieson said, I always said they'd be back.
I mean, it's a fair call to make. You can't really write off any, like, reunion tours anymore unless, like, they're, like, literally all dead.
There's no bands these days that, like, still pack arenas and stadiums anymore.
And I'm sure, like, the money they had is dwindling. No one's seeing the residuals that they need to sustain their lifestyles anymore.
So self-absorbed and egotistical. It's like those hip musicians with their complicated shoes.
Like I said last episode, Motley Crue is going to have a $150 million tour. I can't fathom that kind of money. Like, I still check my bank account when I have to go buy stuff. Like,
right.
Just to make sure.
Those are always, like, the revenue numbers, not, like, their take-home gross. I mean, they end up having to pay for all the shit to get them around. They end up paying for a lot of the stuff on tour. But still, even after all that's said and done, they're all still probably taking home a few $1 million.
Quite a few $1 million.
Quite a few million. It depends on the shows they're booking. If they're booking, like, large venues where they have to have...
They will be.
Yeah, which they're booking so much staff. They have to cart those people. They have to give them room and board. They have to pay them for their services. They usually rent their sound rigs. They'll rent their video rigs if they're doing video. They rent their light rigs. All that stuff they bring on their own. So that cuts into their profits.
Absolutely. I know. They pay their agents and their managers and the venue and all that kind of stuff. Venues actually get very little amount of money.
Oh, yeah. They don't make dick.
Vendors probably make more money than
vendors absolutely
do. Arena.
Well, that's why most venues will argue to, like, take a little off the top of their merch for the night because, yeah, they don't make dick off of, like,
yeah, that's why you pay $45 for a t-shirt.
Right.
Don Jamieson said, quote, I always said they'd be back. My redemption tour starts today, and great news, free tickets for all Motley Crue fans. And if you watched our Halloween episode, you will know that Motley Crue and Steel Panther, the Bowling for Soup metal band,
accurate description.
They've had their trials and tribulations with each other, but Steel Panther's drummer Styx Zadinia had found out about this free ticket thing that's clearly not going to fucking happen. Took to Twitter and said, quote, seriously, Mick Mars offered free tickets to the world. Mick, can you put @Steel Panther on the list? What time do you start? Where do I go? Will call? Do I get to see you before the show? Want to go out afterwards? My friend has a strip bar near the venue. End quote. I can assure you Steel Panther will not be opening up for Poison, Def Leppard, and Motley Crue. I wonder who's going to headline that. I imagine it's going to be Poison, Motley Crue, Def Leppard. Def Leppard still, they have like 20 hits.
They might do rotating headlines too, depending on the market.
True. I know, because Def Leppard, they're like more accessible than Motley Crue was. Although Motley Crue has a huge fan base, so does Def Leppard, but in a different way.
Yeah, that's. I think the headline will be based on the market. And
I'm pushing aside Poison because who cares?
No.
I mean, fuck those guys. Who cares? And that is the end of this episode of Train Kill Radio. Thank you guys so much for watching. Be sure to come back every Wednesday when the show premieres live. Be sure to subscribe, like, comment if you want. You can find us on Facebook and Instagram at Trent Kill Radio 216. Like our shit. That's it. I'm Sean Ryan.
And I'm Jimothy.
And this is Trent Kill Radio.
Farting on no snare drum.
Someone had to get the fucking wedding preparations done for me and KJ. Goddamn.
I know. It's a wedding season, man. Or it's not, but...
It's not. I'm sorry. I was quite the bridezilla.
He didn't... Flea didn't... Flea... I know Peter first because Kiss like hates Peter Criss.
No one likes Peter Criss. Peter Criss doesn't even like Peter Criss.